Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. Come on into the house, get your ringside seat, get your popcorn, get your sodas, get your whiskey, and your boy is back to 100%.
All right, thank you. Yeah, go get your cough syrup. Go get your Robitussin or Walltussin if you prefer, or whatever the case may be. We needed to get all the medicine we could get in here because, whoo,
yeah,
I know some of y'all listened to last week's episode. I hope you didn't unsubscribe. Go ahead and keep us subscribed. That was
rough.
That's holiday stuff. You know, when you try and record on the holiday, you don't take that time, that necessary time off. You get a little too worn down.
Your boy was on the ropes and he barely beat the standing 8 count.
Oh yeah, that wasn't the Mike Tyson fight there. That was for real last week.
Yeah, that was rough.
All right, we apologize. We're back to 100% to this.
Absolutely. So today's title is called "Say It Ain't So." Say it ain't so.
So much going on right now.
So much drama.
It's got to be so.
So
much drama. What are we in the LBC?
Yeah, LBC.
Okay.
All right. Before we get all the way into the LBC, let's go ahead and thank our sponsor this week.
Absolutely.
Basil Hayden Dark Rye.
Okay.
It's the first time for both you boys.
Absolutely. We cracked this one open with the plastic on it. So that means it's been untouched. It's aged for at least a year in the cellar down there. So.
Good old expression of Jim Beam here. So cheers to you, sir.
All right.
Ooh. That almost tastes like rum.
Man, that was smooth.
That almost tastes like rum.
We're gonna take a follow back on that one.
So nice, you had to hit it twice.
That ain't what I expected. I mean, with the dark and the whole dark rye and the.
Usually with a rye whiskey, you get pepper forward like it's spice.
I thought it was gonna give me some kickback. Yeah, because it said spice in there. I thought it was gonna give me some kickback, so I was kind of prepared for it already.
It's more like, I need to pour this on some pancake or something.
No, that's so. I don't know if for those of you longtime listeners, I don't know if you remember, Crown Royal used to have a maple. Oh my goodness, that was pancake syrup. Yeah, absolutely. I tried drinking that just in a glass one day, like no rocks, no nothing. Just, man, I mean, as I was pouring it out of the bottle in the glass, it was pouring thick. And I said, damn, it wasn't super thick. It still had some liquid in it, but damn, it was noticeably thick. And I'm like, this is going to be interesting. And sure enough, I mean, it got all sweet on my teeth. And I said, this is a little too much sweet on my whiskey here. I ain't about ready for that. So,
all right, let's talk about. First things first, let's talk about what went down at Survivor Series.
Oh, okay. We got to talk about Survivor Series. Oh my God.
We're gonna pass over Nia's chair shots, though. We can let that one go.
Yeah, we can definitely let that go. I mean, she let him go.
She let him go.
Right. So we might as well also let him go.
Them were the weakest chair shots.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not gonna put no effort forth in it, we ain't gonna put no effort forth into talking about it.
No,
we gonna call it even and keep it moving.
The spot of that match though was Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton doing the double moonsaults there off the cage.
A swanton and a garbage can moonsault.
Yeah,
all at the same time. But gotta say one thing about that match. There's a lot to look at in that match. So
there was.
it was a hodgepodge. It was a lot of talents just kind of thrown in there, and it turned out to be a little bit of a mess, but it didn't look all bad while we were doing it. The in-ring may not have looked so great, but the actors of the activity didn't look bad.
Yeah, Rhea snagged the win for her team doing the Riptide. What would you call it, an avalanche Riptide?
Yeah, that's definitely an avalanche Riptide. She rode that from the top, yeah.
Yeah, so good for them, good for her. Definitely the mask that she came in, dude, that was good.
I like then that. She pulled the mask off. I mean, that was a surprise. I'm thinking here we are injured.
That was an homage, though. Did you see the homage? Yeah, that was Buddy's. That was Buddy's war paint.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, so she copied that war paint there.
Gross.
But moving on from that match, we had the U.S. title match with Shinsuke Nakamura taking home the title for the first time. He was a former NXT champ, but the first time U.S. champ.
Took it clean.
So
Nothing wrong with that.
We have officially transitioned into the Wayward Samurai. Triple H has finally given all of us Shinsuke Nakamura fans what we've been clamoring for. The Wayward Samurai with the face paint, the darker entrance, the samurai helmet. Only thing that was missing was the sword.
Yeah, we're not getting
the sword. I mean, it's still a PG product. You can't be having those real samurai swords.
Yeah, we had one guy with a sword, and I mean, he had to go away for a little while.
And he cut the ropes with that.
Yeah, right. He did that one time after they did that spot. I think that was the last time we saw the sword.
Much after
I think that was the last time we even saw that sword. So,
yeah.
I think swords are out.
It's out. But Shinsuke, we kind of called that one, though. I mean, we did say LA Knight was better chasing that title.
Yeah, we hope for the best on it.
Hope for the best. We'd like to see a rematch. I would definitely love to see that happen. I do not want to see a different outcome, though, for right now.
No, we don't need to start flip-flopping any titles in WWE. I mean, that's not the way to go. We need to go ahead and establish some champions here.
Shinsuke needs to carry that title, and of course let all comers, come at him. Eventually, who would I like to see take that title off Shinsuke? Maybe somewhere down the road. Maybe Carmelo, he can take that down, or Andrade, maybe he could take that title.
I could see that. I mean, they're pretty much the makeup of the mid card right now on SmackDown. So you're naming the top guys there. Right. LA Knight still included, of course.
And then. With him being the Wayward Samurai, eventually getting back into that program with Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and Cody, that's Sting and Muta.
You got your American Nightmare and your Japanese Samurai Warrior.
Yeah,
this kind of writes itself.
Yeah, so they'll probably.
If Vince was here, we'd be so deep in this right now. We wouldn't be able to swim our way out of it.
That's true. That is true.
Vince loves his foreign heels. That was definitely his thing. He threw every foreign heel you had at the real American Hulk Hogan. So this would definitely be a Vince wet dream right now.
Yeah, and then you had Gunther going up against Damian Priest, and Gunther retained the title with the assistance, whether it was planned or non-planned, from Finn Balor.
Yeah, so they replayed the SummerSlam match again. I mean, all the way to why, right?
Why?
I mean, there was so many different opportunities, so many different ways we could go with this. Why do we do the exact same thing all over again? I mean, what does that do for anybody? I don't see where anybody comes out ahead of this.
Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship was probably, in my opinion, the match of the night.
Yeah.
With, Sheamus and Braun Breaker and Ludwig Kaiser. Them three dudes went at it. It's nice to see Ludwig Kaiser, though, going in a match as hard as he did, because when you think of,
that's what Tiffany said.
Yeah, I knew you were going there as soon as that came out of my mouth.
Yeah, you kind of left low hanging fruit just there. I'm like, really? Do we just leave that there? Is nobody going to address the elephant in the room?
I mean, it was nice to see him, though, get elevated to a different level of kind of looking at him in the ring, because Giovanni Vinci, I mean, he easily could be going down that path.
Yeah, he could be, but he's going down his own path.
He's going down his own path, and look,
that path may lead to NXT or possibly TNA.
I could see him actually holding the Intercontinental belt one day. I could see that happening.
Giovanni Vinci?
No. I'm talking about Ludwig
Kaiser. Yeah, I could definitely see it for Kaiser. Yeah. I mean, the only thing, though, they got to find a way to break him out of Gunther's shadow, right? As long as he's playing second fiddle to Gunther, it's going to be hard to put him in one of those title reigns.
Well, I'm going to tell you,
unless you want to have the two champion stable deal.
I'm going to tell you, it will fall under it'll fall under the topic. Say it ain't so. It'll eventually fall under he gets out of his shadow by turning on him.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes.
That's
right?
how it goes.
Pretty much the only way you get there, when you're kind of a second, I guess you want to call it. The only way you ascend to that next level is to feud with that guy.
The Padawan becomes the master.
Yeah. So it's coming. God only knows where, though. That's long term booking.
All right, let's get into the main event, which was the men's War Games match, Bloodline 2.0 versus the OG Bloodline. A lot of storytelling happened in this match.
So much future storytelling. I mean, there's so much happened in that match that we probably won't hear about for another 18 to 24 months.
Yeah,
it was astounding.
It was a match where they cast a web on the professional wrestling scene within the WWE, and just when you thought that was the whole web, Monday night spread the web out even further.
They spawned at least two different stories out of one War Games match.
And what's awesome about all of this is it's all connected to one man.
Yep.
It's all connected to the tribal chief Roman Reigns.
And Paul Heyman. I mean, you could source it to either one of those, but between those two, without either one of them, the story doesn't even begin to happen the way it does. But I mean, they made 2, maybe 3 even stories on Raw out of this.
Yep.
They're going to have, probably 2 or 3 different stories they can make out of it on SmackDown out of this one match, with everybody being related except 2 guys. I mean, God, when you look at it, you talk about making somebody. I mean, they're making star after star after star. We finally got to see Bronson Reed in a main event spot, in a top match, top billing spot. And he lived up to it. I mean, he put his body on the line out there. He broke his body for it. So Bronson Reed, get better. We are pulling for your health, sir. We are looking forward to seeing you in the ring again. If I didn't know better, I'd swear Bronson Reed played for the 49ers over the weekend.
Bruh.
I mean, Lord, every leg on the Niners took a butt whooping this whipping. Yeah, good Lord.
You ain't wrong.
I mean, if you're a running back on the 49ers, this wasn't your weekend. If you're Bronson Reed finally getting your main event, this wasn't your weekend. So yeah, Jimmy Uso, but he might play for the Niners too, because I mean, foot and leg injuries abound this weekend.
You could not have had that match though and not had the moment with Bronson Reed taking the tsunami off top of the cage. It had to be there. We were all calling for it. Unfortunately, it looks like it may have shattered one of his ankles when he landed. A la Edge.
I mean, but same difference.
But I mean, the man takes to Twitter the night of. It's a since deleted tweet, but he takes to Twitter the night of and says, injuries are temporary, but moments are forever.
And I mean, it's the Mick Foley moment, right?
Yep.
You got to do it.
Yep.
You know it's going to hurt like hell. You know there's no way you're going to come out the other side of it better. But it's so memorable that, I mean, nobody's going to show him hobbling around afterwards, but they'll show him diving off of that cage for months.
Forever.
Yeah.
Every War Games package from henceforth will have that scene.
From here on out, that's always. But I mean, we're going to see it on every show for months, for the next couple of months.
You know what else you might see? You might see the playback of Jimmy doing the whisper in the wind.
Could see that. I mean,
where in the world did that come from?
That's what he's saying. As soon as he hit it, like, did you see it? He just sat there and looked over at the camera like,
he's like, did I just do that?
He didn't even know his body could twist
that really happened.
Yeah, he was stunned. Somewhere or another, Jeff Hardy was clapping like, "Oh my God, where?" He also said, "Where the hell did that come from?"
But had all kinds of things. He came off the cage as well with the Uso splash, broke his toe. So again, best health to you, Jimmy. Hope you heal up nice, get back better. But at the end of the day, the OG Bloodline wins the War Games match. Everybody taking their last finishing move shot on Solo there at the end.
Totally not what we predicted.
No.
Didn't see that one coming.
No, that one was different. Also, love the camera work and the play that happened between Roman and CM Punk in that shot.
Oh my God! Talk about classic. I mean, they were having a little match before they even got out of the shark cage. They had their own little mental match going on. Right,
they looked like broke up best friends standing in the same elevator.
At one point in time, that was us last week when you were sick and coughing. And we were just standing there like, God, we got to film this. We got to record this. Mm-hmm. Producers were like, hell, we done booked the time. We got to do it. Yeah, we got to do it. We're paid, so we got to get done. We got a sponsor. Like, all right, well, we got to do it. But yeah, we kind of look the same way. Like, hell, this is gonna be one.
And again, one of the other stars of the match, Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he's just a freaking monster. This dude, hopefully he's okay. Looked like he might have hurt a knee or something on a moonsault trip that he tried. But again, if you're hurt there, Jacob, we wish you the best health. But man, oh man, this dude is a star and world champ written all over him.
Yeah, he's definitely down the line. Well, whatever brand they put him on, whatever they figure out to do with him, at some point in time, he can be the man out of it. But let's talk about one thing, that all the injuries that we're talking about here, how the hell Punk not get injured in that? I mean, Glass Punk didn't take the loss in that match. He found a way to stay safe.
Triple H in the back, he had rosary beads in his hand. Yeah, he had seances going.
Everybody, I'm sure AJ Lee was somewhere doing doing a sit down prayer stance in there too. And then Punk, of course, comes out the next night on Raw talking about his WrestleMania aspirations. That means we ain't gonna see Punk but one more time in the ring between now and then, right? Yeah. He's gonna have to do something at Royal Rumble to figure that out. They're probably gonna do the safest, most possible. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't wrestle in bubble wrap for the match that he has at Royal Rumble just to make it through.
Yep.
So they can finally pay off this WrestleMania dream.
So let's take this on now, move on from Survivor Series and go into Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about the second web that they cast that's kind of tangling all of these stories up together. You had CM Punk come out to do a promo stating his ambitions, that he wants to be the main event WrestleMania, pointing at the imaginary sign.
When I saw that, I was like, we're already pointing at the sign. It's November.
He's got to be the earliest man to ever point.
Yeah, he definitely is. I mean, what was that, December 2nd? I think we had just touched the start of December. We haven't even hit Christmas yet, and we're already pointing
we just started the road to WrestleMania.
Exactly, and WrestleMania is not until April 20th for Lord's sake. So, I mean, it's more than 5 months away, and we're already pointing at the sign. Next year, they just start pointing at the sign the night after WrestleMania.
I love, though, how this all unfolded, because you had him come out there and point. You had Seth come out. Seth basically saying that he regretted the fact that he didn't knock Punk on his ass the first go round, and now he's here to do it tonight.
Yeah.
But Punk had a comeback of all comebacks and said, "You ain't got nothing, kid, that I want anymore."
He's like, "You're insignificant to me."
It's like, you've been thinking about me for the past 6 months. Hell, you ain't crossed my mind.
Yeah. Punk does live rent free in Seth's mind. I mean, we know that. No matter, Punk's done the Drew program, he's done the Bloodline program. Now, Punk's moved around a lot. He's brushed up against Seth over and over again, but he moves. But it's always Seth coming out to interrupt Punk. If you think back through the year, I mean, we've had Punk for a whole year. Punk interrupted the main event of Survivor Series, right? But that wasn't necessarily interrupting Seth. That was just an interruption as a whole. But ever since then, it's always been Seth coming out for Punk. I mean, Punk lives rent-free in his mind. I mean, sometimes it's just how it is.
And then the web got tangled even further. They began to do more than a verbal joust. It became a sparring match.
So they finally touched, right?
They finally touched.
We've waited a year.
Well, kind of touched. He threw them working punches. Punk threw them working punches worse than Ric Flair did.
Well, yeah, definitely. But I mean, he pushed him down. So they made the first physical contact.
And then here comes
after a year.
Here comes Sammy and Jay coming out to break it up.
Why?
Well,
I see. I know they got there
after,
but when it happened, I'm like,
it was like, why? Why are these two guys? Because it's normally Adam Pearce and his cavalcade of characters.
I mean, they had the interaction in the back. Punk shook Jay's hand. Jay was welcoming. Sammy was kind of hesitant, like, I don't know about this guy, but all right, you helped me out last night, cool. Then he rolled off. Well, then when they have this pull apart in the ring, the hell are these two guys doing pulling apart? I'm like, well, what are they doing out here? But they got there.
Yeah, and Sammy kind of pointed out to Seth that he was the one that created the monster.
Yeah, which is true.
Yep.
He told him when you put that chair in his back 10 years ago, which is ironic. It's 10 years. A lot of things happened 10 years ago that are just now coming to fruition. It's fun.
Talk about your long-term storytelling.
I mean, hell. So I became your neighbor 10 years ago. Matter of fact, tomorrow from when we're recording. So, hey, that's where all this stuff started right at the same time. Little did we know the seeds were being planted. Yep. Even when I moved in the door, seeds were being planted here. So,
but you had Seth, though, kind of clap back and throw it back in Sammy's face and say, yeah, but you done the same damn thing.
Yeah. I mean, they both got points, right?
They both got points. And then, Seth also told Sammy, Jay, I can kind of reason with. He's family.
Yeah.
He looked at Sammy. You ain't blood.
That's what he said. Blood. Yeah.
So I mean,
Sammy's kind of blood though, right? Like we've got
Sammy's
NXT,
the honorary Uso.
Yeah, we've got NXT footage from more than 10 years ago with Sammy and the Usos.
Yeah.
Before Roman was even part of the Usos, Sammy was kind of there.
But here's what I found interesting: the baby faces have all turned to help the ultimate heel.
If that's what he is, then yeah.
Roman ain't changed. Roman is the same. Has Roman apologized? Seth is right. Has Roman apologized?
So Roman doesn't have to apologize, but so when you look at the hierarchy on SmackDown, right? The Bloodline 2.0 is pretty much at the top because they've left Roman laying countless times.
Hold on. You used the phrase Roman. Did you say Roman?
I said if you look at the hierarchy over on SmackDown. But you said
Roman doesn't have to apologize.
No, he doesn't have to. I mean,
he doesn't have to.
No.
But should he?
This is what. If he's already gone this far along and he hasn't, then no, it's too late to go back now.
This is what Seth and KO has been preaching. See, I'm starting to see a different angle of all of this because what I'm starting to see now is you've got the ultimate baby faces, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes has flipped around to help the ultimate heel under the disguise of the ultimate babyface. And you've got KO, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre trying to tell everybody this man has not changed.
It's true, but did you see the irony in the messengers that you just sent there? Who are the three people that turn their backs on their friends the fastest in WWE?
Yep. So
those three guys saying anything they would say, you're automatically untrustworthy.
This is the beauty of this story.
Either one of the three of them tell you, "Hey, don't trust Roman." It's like, don't trust you.
It's like, who the hell do you trust?
Exactly. I mean, but they all, KO, Seth, and Drew, they all know what Roman, could become because that's what they are.
Right.
What do they say? The enemy is my friend.
Uh-huh.
Well, what they're not realizing is Roman is keeping his enemies closer, right? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Right.
Roman knows all the people that Roman turned to for his Survivor Series match have turned on Roman in the past, right? They've all had a falling out with Roman, but Roman still came back to those guys because he knows, hey, I already know those monsters. I know what I'm dealing with KO and Seth and Drew. He knows what he's dealing with them because they're all turncoats. That's what they are. But the other guys, they may have turned, but they felt forced away. They didn't want to turn on Roman. Roman pushed them away.
Yep.
So Roman knows when I push them away, I can also bring them right back in, and they'll always come along with it because it's not them that wanted to leave. I made them go. So when I let them back in, they're excited. I open my arms to them, and they're going to turn back. Well, then when Roman doesn't need them anymore, they're back out the door. So
also pay attention to one thing that Solo said a while back. He was speaking in the back to Jacob Fatu, and he was holding the Ula Fala in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob tried to ask, he was asking him, what are we going to do? He said, well, the day that Roman takes this from me will be the day that we have to acknowledge him.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. What was Solo trying to get them to do before Survivor Series?
Join up.
Yeah. If Roman takes it, they're going to join up by default.
Yeah.
Thus increasing the bloodline double.
Yeah.
So is this also what KO, Seth, and Drew was trying to tell everybody? Hey, what are you guys doing helping them? As long as they're fighting, we're winning.
Yeah. But how far down the road is that? I mean, at this point now, we're talking, at least we're almost another year away. Yeah. I mean, that's probably next year's War Games when all that kind of conversation comes to fruition. Yeah. So
your first 15-man War Games.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it'll be Bloodline versus the world at that point, right? So you'll take all your mid-card and top-card guys, face them against the Bloodline. No matter, I think about how many more people they can bring in at that point.
Yep.
I mean, we could have a 20-on-20 at this point. We've done it once at a Survivor Series.
4 rings instead of 2.
Exactly. We've done it once at Survivor Series where we had two 5 tag team guys.
You bring back the Tower of Doom. At
that point. I mean, you can do whatever, but you know what I mean? We've seen 20 guys in a ring. It was the worst thing ever when they had 20 men at Survivor Series 87, the first annual Survivor Series. You had the whole ring was covered. You couldn't see anything because everybody was standing there. The guys were down there all touching.
Yep.
At this point, though, that may be what it comes down to. You just go pale. You just open up the arena. Maybe they rent out the Daily Center? Maybe they rent out the Daily Center. They just fight all over it. 10 against 10. Why not?
A stadium stampede.
Exactly. You can just rent out a stadium and just wrestle all over it. An empty stadium, and we just rumble and wrestle all over it.
All right, let's get into our topic. Say it ain't so. And this topic, oh boy, this one hits home.
Uh-oh.
This one hurt.
What are we going for? You're talking about Liv and Dom and the dissension in the Judgment Day?
I'm sure Liv did hurt.
I'm pretty sure she did.
But we ain't going there.
Hurt my heart. I know that's for sure.
We talking about the implosion, yet not implosion of the New Day.
Podcast listeners, don't you dare be sour. Clap for your world famous podcast champs and feel the power.
It's a new day. Yes,
it is. All right, drinks on us.
Cheers.
All right, we feeling good now. Got to get a few shots in before you can pull that one out.
Listen. There's a few things in professional wrestling that I've watched over the years that really got me. A few of them. The first one that I ever remember really getting me was Dusty being taken out by Spike from the Road Warriors in Warriors.
Oh yeah, shoulder pad Spike.
That was one of the first ones that really got me, right? Hogan being the third man in the NWO. Okay. Didn't see that coming. That really got me. I
got a few other. I remember Hogan. I remember when Bundy and Don Morocco destroyed Hulk Hogan, or Magnificent Morocco at the time, when they destroyed Hulk Hogan on a Saturday night's main event, and it was like, man, they were talking about Hogan was done, and he did the stretcher job, and it's like, oh my goodness. Yep. The same the following year, leading into WrestleMania 3, when Andre grabbed the shirt and the crucifix and just ripped it off Hogan's neck and threw it down. And Hogan's on his knees just looking, saying, why, Andre? Yep. I mean, we were little then. So, obviously we were the key audience for it.
Not so little me. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair.
Oh, well,
got me.
You were grown then. You should have been prepared for that.
No.
I kind of knew they were going to have an emotional match.
Not the fact that I didn't know, just the fact that it happened.
Yeah, seeing it.
When he tried to tell him to stay down, and then the final super kick, he told him, I love you. Mm-hmm. Those moments define in my brain some of the best story arcs. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say wrestling matches.
No.
Story arcs.
Yeah, the story that they told was, I don't think anybody would say that Shawn Michaels Ric Flair match was quality, right? When Hogan turned, things like that. None of that's quality. Dave Meltzer ain't giving none of those 5 stars unless they were in the Tokyo Dome. Yep. Then they're 35 stars. But in the real world, Meltzer's going to call it a 2. But if you want to bring eyes to the product, if you want to get somebody to where they're not going to miss the next event, this is the kind of stuff that you give them to make sure they don't miss the next event.
So for anybody who watched Monday Night Raw, y'all know where we're going. This was the New Day's 10-year celebration. And everybody kind of figured this was going to go one of two ways. Everybody kind of figured either the New Day was going to rah-rah sis kumbaya, sing kumbaya, get back together, everything was going to be fine.
Grand reunion.
We all figured Big E was coming out.
Yeah, that was guaranteed one way or the other.
It was going to happen, right? The other way that we all saw it going was Woods turning on everybody.
Well, after last week, the way they were going back and forth, I thought they were going to go through with what they led into, where they say, hey, we talked about it. We just, we need to go our separate ways. It's a wrap, blah, blah, blah. But when you look, when you stop and really look at, let's say Kofi, for example, right? What else is there for Kofi to do? Kofi's won every title possible.
Kofi even said it himself. He was a Hall of Famer when he joined that team.
Absolutely. He was good to go before that. With the amount of titles Kofi won, now granted, he hadn't touched the world title until the New Day run. But he touched every other title numerous times. He was a multi-time tag champion before they ever won their first tag championship. Yep. And then they went on to win 12 of them jokers. So, he's up in Dudley Boys territory as far as how many tag team title reigns he's had. And, unlike the Dudleys, he's also got a multitude of singles titles to go with it.
Yep.
So, when you're talking about, championship criteria, championship caliber wrestler, that's Kofi all day, all night.
So, what transpired, though, and how it all went down will go down in history as one of those moments that I will not forget where I was, what I was doing when that whole thing went down.
Yeah, how it transpired, everything, the things that were said, the looks.
That was a complete swerve from what anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, but you had called kind of something.
So I went the other way with him. Remember, I thought Big E was going to turn on. Yeah, I thought Big E was going to come out there, and he started that, right? He came out there and he kind of dressed him down a little bit, like, hey, you guys have been out here beefing, and this ain't what we're about, blah, blah, blah. And, and then they started looking at each other, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, they're not going to split, I, of course, remember we were trying to be as outlandish as possible last week, and we didn't want to get into this conversation because I wanted to just see how it played out. Right. But, I mean, I did lead into Big E should just jump them both. But that would also mean that Big E was healthy and ready to wrestle, which I was just secretly praying for, and I was willing to take it however we could get there.
And I think that's what killed me the most about all of this. At the end of the day, do I understand that all of this is story and they're acting, and behind the scenes, those three dudes are probably tighter than they ever been?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But what we saw on our screen last night allowed, and this is the beauty of professional wrestling when it is done great, it allows you to suspend your disbelief of reality no matter what is true. Mm-hmm. It allows you to suspend it and for just a moment get sucked into an alternate unreal universe.
Yeah, where you could take it at face value.
And my God, I sat there, Frank, and I was just floored. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't talk. Like now, there was no words.
It was the point that I never thought I would see. Right? Again, we talked about earlier. Everybody turns on each other. Everybody backstab.
Right.
It's the only way you can get ahead. But these three guys found a way to get ahead without having to do that. Right. They all reached. Achieved great goals for each. Except for Woods, quote unquote.
Well, he reached the goal though.
Yeah, he definitely had some memorable moments.
It was pale, white, and British.
Yeah, I was gonna say he had some memorable moments. I mean, we can't talk about it now. At least they can't talk about it. I mean, we can talk about it because I ain't mad at him for that. I don't know if I'd have signed on to the whole camera deal.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Probably would have kept that out because that stuff's gonna come out one day. But as far as all the rest of it, oh yeah, I'm all in that myself. Yeah. So I ain't turning that down.
But man, the way that it all went down, and I've quoted him time and time again, and I'll continue to quote him because it's one of the best references that I can give. Bully Ray always says, "How do I like my wrestling? With just a touch of realism." Mm-hmm. And my God, when Woods lit into Big E, and he was just trying to tell him, "Let's just call it how it is. You ain't never going to be cleared."
Yeah, right.
And you have to hope. The eternal optimist over here. I have to hope that that's not true. That one day Big E will be able to throw.
That's why I wanted to see him get physical last night. Because if he got physical, then I know he's cleared. I know he could come back. The fact that he didn't get physical at all, didn't even begin to get touched,
nothing.
Really made me afraid of.
It's true. Yeah,
at this point now, that's kind of what you're left with. And I mean, if he is, on the way to being cleared, or if they're optimistic about it being clear, then hey, they swerved the hell out of us again. And I mean, hey, all kudos to them on doing it, right? Because that's what we want. We want to be swerved. We want to be surprised.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't know if we didn't get that. That almost felt like when Edge and Daniel Bryan and the pale British girl you referred to, it kind of made me think about when they came out and had to call it quits. What Big E did last night, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna be you guys' manager" and all that made me almost feel like, damn, this is Big E's retirement speech without actually giving a retirement speech.
Now we got to make sure we are paying attention to time, but I want to fantasy book something for just a minute.
So you're thinking about page 2, right? I mean, the Booker's Alliance we could definitely turn some pages right now.
No, I'm not thinking about that. But
okay.
I want to fantasy book something for a minute, and it ain't gonna make no sense until I get to the end.
Okay.
But what if they are swerving us and Big E is cleared?
Hey, that would be awesome, right?
What if, just for every other storyline, throw it out the window. Don't think about other storylines right now, okay? What if the way that he shows that he's been medically cleared is he pops up number 30 in the Rumble and wins the damn thing. What if Gunther still got the belt, goes to WrestleMania, Big E wins the belt at WrestleMania?
So all that's exciting, but what does that do for the other New Day guys? You got to keep them attached somewhere.
Come back and try to make amends, and Big E shuts them down.
Oh wow!
I'm just, dude. We talk about the Roman and the Bloodline storyline going for a long time and twists and turns. Think about where this thing could go.
Well, so they got 10 years of history in there, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, everybody doesn't have that kind of interlaid history that everybody knows, so they're not able to give these great stories. I mean, they had to teach us to understand the history of the Bloodline before they could actually start executing the story the way they wanted to. The New Day stuff has all been in front of our eyes. I mean, if you've been a fan over the last 10 years, you've seen, I mean, you remember when they were coming out and they were like three preachers and, you know, they kind of had the weird matching outfits and they did the different versions of, you know, but they were power of positivity and all. I mean, you remember all that stuff if you were here, and you remember those guys, you know, when they were breaking out of that mold saying, hey, we were this close to some of us getting fired, some of us getting demoted. God only knows what was going to happen with some of us. You know, they were that close to that before they found the New Day. And I mean, the New Day rescued a lot of their career, definitely rescued Wood's career, that's for sure.
But the swerve of all swerves last night was Kofi turning heel. I've never known Kofi to be a heel.
No, it's an awkward feeling though, isn't it?
And Joker goes up today and posts on Twitter a picture with a sly looking smile on his face, quoting, "It's a new day." Yes, it is.
Did you see his interaction with Big E's girlfriend, Mia Yim's sister?
Oh, they were throwing down.
I mean, yeah, they got into it. They got raw.
But you know what though? Again, only furthers the ability to suspend your level of disbelief.
Absolutely. I mean, it brings a little bit more of that realism in there because you're like, well, wait a minute. This girlfriend she ain't in the business. Now, granted, she's in the business.
Yeah, she's Mia Yim's sister.
Right. She's Mia Yim's sister. She's Big E's girlfriend. So she's in the business, but she ain't in the business. Right. She ain't working in, like, she ain't gonna have a match. There ain't no payoff for her. No. But she's contributing to the storyline of saying, you know, more realism. Like, hey, I was gonna have you guys over for dinner, and you know, and Kofi's a vegan, and Woods eats like a kid. So, and she was like, but I was gonna deal with that. But you know what? Now, F y'all. And, you know, and I mean, you know, when you're looking at it, you're like, hey, if my girlfriend was watching me interact with it, she probably would have had the same feeling. So you're looking at it like, damn, this is a lot of realism going on here. And then again, like you said, at the core of it, we all know, like, hey, these guys are still friends. You know, there's no way they dislike each other all of a sudden. But some of the stuff they were saying is probably some of the stuff they've been thinking for the last 6 to 8 months when they're seeing Big E, you know, on these pre-shows, and he's doing this whole new thing with this whole new life.
Why can he be on there and he can't be at the ringside with us?
Exactly. The New Day's out there jobbing every week, you know, because it ain't like they had 15 more title reigns while Big E was out, right? Since Big E was gone, they've had one title reign, and that was in NXT, and the rest of it's kind of been downtrodden. So, I mean, some of what they were saying yesterday may have been, you know, just things that they were thinking and just couldn't really say. And they were like, hey, you know what? Let's go out here and say it all tonight, leave it all on the table and see what happens.
And kudos to all three of them for being able to go out there and do that, because the believability factor was through the roof. There was no way, shape, or form, and maybe it was just because I was pulled into it so far, didn't see anybody stumble over a line, crack a smile, say something wrong.
They were on point.
They were on point. And kudos to those three guys, because for what you guys did, you guys went out there and sold a story better than almost any story that I've heard so far. Yeah, it's not Bloodline.
No, but it has the potential to get to that type of level. It's got the potential to get there. And that's where the difference is.
Yep.
Everybody else's story, and I mean, I'm talking everybody else in WWE right now, they got at best a couple years of history.
Now there's a tangent to this story. There is somebody connected to this story.
Who's that?
He's also connected.
Odyssey Jones?
Nope.
He was part of the New Day for like a week.
He's also connected to the recent turn of Shinsuke Nakamura.
Who's that?
He's also connected to KO's recent turn and bad attitude.
Who's that?
Karrion Kross.
Karrion Kross.
He is connected to all of this.
True. He whispered the seeds of doubt into all their ears. So
is he the devil? Is he Kevin Sullivan?
I mean, is it time to do something with him at this point? So.
I think they're getting there. I really think they're getting there. But I also can appreciate how low-key they're being in getting there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to do it. So I saw they're having a match next week. Looks like the Karrion Kross
Final group, Testament versus
is going to be wrestling the Wyatts next week. So I guess that'll tell it. If they go over, then we know that there's bigger plans over there. And, if they lose, then we can only hope that they remember to tie this stuff in to possibly save a career, because we definitely don't want Scarlett off TV.
No, we don't. We don't want that.
No matter how the hell we get there, I don't care. I don't care how bad the story has to be or whatever. We got to keep that woman.
And I don't need to see her in any spooky makeup.
Yeah, no, we don't need to change nothing. No, we need the less we see her in, the better.
So
take that as you may.
So I'm gonna also, before we wrap up today's episode, I'm also going to give Triple H some flowers, because he went on Twitter, and the day of Survivor Series, he posted about how things were getting ready to take so many twists and turns that the WWE universe is not going to know where to go or what to say. Granted, we were all not going to slam Survivor Series, but none of us walked away going, man, that was an event that's a can't miss.
Yeah, they didn't give us anything crazy and over the top, right?
None of it.
We wanted
The
Rock. We wanted something with Cody. We wanted furthering of the WrestleMania storyline. And I mean, they realized that they're not there yet, so they kept it as what it was. They said, hey, let's just do Survivor Series. And I think they're going to actually pay more off in Saturday night's main event than what we got at Survivor Series.
What came after Survivor Series with Monday Night Raw? Kudos to you, sir.
Absolutely. We got SmackDown coming tonight, so we're going to see what more, what other angles they could take this thing into. But like you said, they're opening doors to make the interest level, rise over and over again, and that's all we can ask.
Whether it's Hunter, whether it's Michael P.S. Hayes, whether it's
Doc Hendricks,
Paul Heyman, whether it's Bruce Pritchard, whoever else is behind the scenes spinning these stories, spinning all these plates, and keeping us on this road that keeps twisting and turning, whoever all these people are, thank you, because
absolutely
this is amazing, and this will go down as probably one of my most favorite eras of professional wrestling.
Yeah, this is right up there with the Attitude Era.
It is.
At this point. I mean, I can remember being so entangled in that then, where everything was can't miss TV. And I mean, they're getting you back there now. They had it with the Bloodline. The Bloodline storyline's been rolling at least for a couple of years where it was can't miss, but you can only rest on that for so long before everybody says, all right, damn, tap out. And we tapped out a little bit over the summer. It was kind of getting stale.
Right.
But now, with WrestleMania right around the corner, as they say, they're starting to create these stories that are going to get some of these guys into key positions at that event that we need to watch.
Business is picking up, sir.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to today's episode. Go out on our social media platforms, drop us a line, tell us your thoughts. And with that, we bid you adieu.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also, connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.